Here. Let me make sure I can see myself on Facebook. Groups. All right, we're live. We'll post share the page. Hey, everyone, what's going on? For all those who may not know who I am, I'm Reverend J. And this is a show I've started to host called Let's Talk About It. And this is where we talk about things that other people just don't want to talk about. Today's topic is men and relationships. We're going to just we I asked for some questions for some women about some questions they have about men, and we're going to give the men the business today. And I'm so excited to have some of my dear friends on here. My special guests, Pastor Willie King and Diamond G. These people I particularly know, and these are men who have been through it, who have started on one side and walked through and made it to the other side. So we're not experts. We just have some experiences that we can share with you, and just maybe we can say something today that you can use to help grab onto what you're looking for. I believe that we learn a lot through conversations, and when you learn, you grow, and when you grow, you possess. And my prayer is that you are able to possess the things that you like to have. So I'm Pastor Willie King, give him a little bit of information about himself, and what he's about, and I'm asking Diamond G to give a little bit of information about himself, and then we're gonna have a little conversation. We're gonna answer these questions that were submitted by some women. Go ahead, Pastor King.
Amen. Good morning. Good morning, all. My name is Willie King. I'm a pastor of CARES Ministries in Gadsden, Alabama, and also founder and CEO of CARES Mentoring, where we mentor at-risk youth. Every child is at risk, no matter if they're in trouble or not in the justice system or whatever. But we mentor and tutor at-risk youth and their families. And also, I have 8 children, 4 sons, 4 daughters, and 4 grandchildren. It's just an honor to be here. And Reverend Jay, we thank you for inviting us to be here.
Right on, right on. All right, everyone. I am Diamond G. I am the host of Diamond G Speaks. I have known, yes, I've known Reverend J. What we going on, brother? About 20 years now, give or take. Yeah, I think it's about right. So, you know, some of you folks may have seen Reverend J. He is a guest on my show. So we have some very real conversations. I've been married for 21 years, together with my wife, a little over 23 years. We have 6 children. We have 5 girls and 1 boy. I am a retired cop, and I am much like Pastor King said, you know, it's important for us to make sure that we use our experiences, especially when it comes to the youth. The youth are very important. So I also do a lot of community outreach and, you know, try to show these kids out here that somebody cares about them, and also shine lights on some of the injustices that happen within the system and outside of it, with the perspective that I have. So thank you. I'm honored to be here, Pastor Jay.
All right, great. All right, let's talk. I'm gonna pose one question. Got really jumped up as at me per se when I got the question. And the question is, does it seem like it's easy for a man to leave his family? Now let me make my first point on that. Men don't leave their families. Boy, the challenge that there's boys posing as men. They got the age, they may have the job, but they don't have the maturity yet. A matter of fact, of course, a boy will leave oftentimes because life get hard, or life is not going the way they expected to go when they started off. Of course, we all have had that. But again, I want to encourage you men that you will never become a man until you go through the process and challenges of life, especially when we face our times. Trust me, I faced them. I've seen them, seen the good, the bad, and ugly. And since I'm only 40 years old, I'm sure I'm not done yet. So, anybody else want to comment on that question?
Yes, Reverend Jay, that's a good question, and you hit it right on the head. Is that boys leave families, men doesn't leave their families. When you are a young man, when you're a boy, I'm not even going to say a young man. When you're a boy, you just running around, seeing what all you can do, what trouble and mischief you can get into. So you don't know what responsibility really is. See, a male really doesn't mature until between the 25 and 35 mark, age mark.
Mm.
And so they're very immature, and so they're going to try to do any and everything they possibly can, and so they don't know and understand the concept of family. And when you finally understand the concept of family, you put away childish things, so that therefore you do away with being a boy. You're no longer a boy anymore because you are a man now. But you're correct that boys leave families, men don't. Real men don't. Let me rephrase that. Real men does not leave their families.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
now let's be real. That
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, so here's the thing. I think that we have to kind of peel back the layers on this here. I agree, yes, that men don't leave their families. Men will do what they're supposed to do. However, we have a society that has basically been built to tear down the so-called black man. And I can point to several examples of that, and even within our own community, we have seen a reluctance of young brothers and sisters to hold others accountable for the things that they're doing. We have gotten away from the it takes a village type mentality. Now, what you will notice is that in different parts of the country, such as where Pastor King is from, what he's talking about, that's old school to me. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. My grandfather was from Tupelo, Mississippi. So the things that he instilled in me is exactly what Reverend King was just talking about. Exactly. That type of thing where, when you're a man, you put away childish things, but we have a whole generation of young men who were basically raised by television, and it's almost like Stockholm syndrome. If you get to the point where people tell you that you're worthless enough, you start to believe that you're worthless. If you start to, if you want to try to succeed, and running out in the street is a bit easier, and then you find out society is not going to put these same type of constraints on you that they would on others, it makes it easier, you know, for you to do them childish things. And there's a lack of accountability and also a lack of respect for the elders in our community,
Mhm.
you know?
I agree. I think again, I was talking to someone, and most men don't understand this, is that the children is not the women or the mothers, but it's actually the men. Biologically,
Right.
the women don't have a seed.
Right.
The man has a seed. The woman body acts as an incubator for the man, and again, the woman gives birth to the child, but actually, the children belongs to the man. The challenge is that when if there's a divorce happens, the court sides with the women and said, "Oh, I'm almost pretty much just give them money and you can do whatever you want to do, but the women must now raise the children." Where it should be flipped, where it says, "No, what? Hold on, these are your kids, sir. You need to go and raise them. These are your babies." And so again, society has not held men up to accountability that if you have a child, you need to make sure you raise them. Now, the reality about it is that if you are with somebody, some don't say your significant other or your woman or wife, it doesn't mean that you're gonna. Sometimes that relationship will dissolve because you guys can't get along, but that don't mean you have to leave your family. There's many men that have been divorced, but still take care of their family.
Mhm.
Pastor Jay, if I may jump in right there. Wow. Most of us, I'll say about 30%, 70% of Black men, we really did not have a role model to show
Mhm.
us what a man really is. And so we have to
Yes.
learn on a whim. We had to learn on a whim. And unfortunately, I lost my father at the age of 10. The 10 years that
Mm.
that my father was on this earth that I knew him, he set a good example. He showed us how to be a family, how to be a husband, how to be there for your children, interact with your children. So it's sad to say that I've this is my fourth marriage, but each marriage that I've had, guess what? I didn't leave empty-handed, meaning
Yeah.
I stayed connected with my children. I said
Right.
when
Hmm.
no man was going to tell me how to take care of my children.
Yes.
My
Yes.
second wife, she had a son. When I met her, was 3 months old. I raised him from 3 months old until today. He is 23 years old, and I still call him my son. And
Amen, brother.
I took on that responsibility because I'm a man. That's what I was chosen to do.
Hmm.
And I
Yes.
chose to do that. And
Yeah.
even though you have fathers in the home, they're not active in their children's life. And I tell
Yeah.
my children, and I tell others that I am more involved in my children's life more so than people that are married and in the home, because I refuse to let
Mm.
my children go fatherless as long as I'm here on this earth. So I'm not going to leave a child out there when either my seed or not my seed. If it belongs to that woman that I'm connected with, that child is mine.
Mm.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
And what happened? That's what again, and that's what again, myself and Pastor Willie King, we are part of a virtual men's fellowship, and we talk about men and how to be a better man and a real man, authentic manhood. And for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about being significant, and that most men must understand that we are significant. We are significant. The
Yeah.
family rises and falls based upon the men. The community rising and falls based upon the men. The world, the country rise and fall based upon the men. When God got ready to create a world, the first gender he made was a man.
Mhm.
I'm sorry what the
Yeah.
world keep trying to do, saying, but men, you are very significant. There's something
Yes.
in your voice that when you speak, stop.
That's right. That's right.
Let's
That's
So I want to encourage you, men. It's time to rise up and take your position.
Send your throne.
The
Yes.
family will follow you if you lead them somewhere. Mm-hmm. The question is, where are you going?
Right.
Let's go to the next question here.
Okay.
You guys want to choose a question? You guys get a chance to do the question. Do you want to choose one that stuck out to you?
You know what? Yeah, yeah. Let's. It was this. The one question that stood out to me was, can a man be in love with two women at the same time? You know. You know. For me, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to speak from my own experience. I would say no. You know, I would say no. And I'm looking at it as a capacity as a husband. You know, do I believe that a man can equally love two wives? You know, and it'd be something that's going to be clandestine or powerful, moving a relationship forward. From my experience, I would say no. I don't think it would work. I believe, you know, and that's one of the things, you know, we've had several conversations about that. You know, you have times in a relationship where, you know, you may be in a situation where you may get caught out there. Hasn't happened to me, but like I said before, I don't ever make a promise, you know, that I know that I may not be able to keep. By that token, I'll take every day, one day at a time. Now, for me, you know what I'm saying, I cannot see how that type of dynamic could work, because all my energy is, you know, dedicated to strengthening my marriage, but most importantly, strengthening my children. You know, now I come with, you know, my experience. My grandfather had at least two families, and it was something that I could not fathom. But I can tell you what, I've seen the chaos and the damage that is done, because what ends up happening, you have cousins that don't even know they're related. They come across one another, you know, and it's just a bad thing for me, man. I can understand it, because, you know, I do have a brother who has more than one wife. Tip my cap to him, man. I can't get down like that. There are also some Muslim brothers that I know have several wives as well. And, you know, even though, you know, they claim that they follow the tenets that are laid down, you know what I'm saying, in scripture, as far as, you know, treating them all the same, you know, as a man, you know, and being that we're flawed beings, it's just no way. So to the young lady, no, I do not believe that it's possible for a man to be deeply in love with two women at the same time, in that sense of a conjugal type relationship.
Let me speak on this real quick. Because right now we got all this looking for sister wives shows on society is trying to do the same thing they did with us when they wanted homosexuality to be accepted. They put it on TV.
That's right.
And they want us to say, oh, this is correct, this is acceptable, this is the way to go, this is up, and they're getting people twisted. Let me tell you something. The male gender don't have the capacity it takes the male gender all his might plus some to love one woman.
That's right. Preach, Pastor Jay. Let him know, brother. Let him know.
One woman. Women, if a man is telling you he can love more than one woman at a time, you're getting played. He's gonna love one more than the other. I'm telling you, there's no man on this earth that can emotionally give you everything, more than one woman, all the emotional support you're looking for, all the kind of gesture you're looking for. There's no way there's no way it can happen. And now let me give you some Bible. It says I'm a minister. I must still give you some Bible. The Bible says one man can love two masters. Either he'll love one or the other. Reality. As human beings, we will always have a preference over one over the other. Now for the women, trust me, there's more than enough men out here for each woman to get their own one. And please don't put yourself in that heartache. Why would you want to have to be responsible with trying to please more than one? Matter of fact, you're not. You may be bringing home some money, but there's no way you're going to give love to two people at one time, nor will you actually be able to be in love with two people. Because it says love means sacrifice. And if that woman, one of the women were actually correct, they would. If a woman was actually correct, they'll demand more of you than what you're giving them.
Right.
So, this is for a man. I'm in love with this woman, and no, bro, sir, no. You may be lusting this woman. And you may love this. This possibility that you can lust at this woman.
Yes.
Because she has more similar similarities to things she's offering you, but you still be in love. But guess what? I can tell who you love. The person you give your time to.
Yes.
The person you give your money to. The person you're gonna make a sacrifice. At one point, one of these women is gonna ask you to sacrifice. And guess what? The person you sacrifice one over the other for is the one you're in love with. Love is selfish.
That's right.
It is.
That's right.
Because guess what? For the things I love, I give my whole heart to.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I'll say, and because I love it, I say no to something else, even though it may be good. So, women, if a man is saying he loves you and not willing to sacrifice something else for it, guess what? It's not love.
And that's true.
Yes.
And Reverend J, it's called infatuation. It's called infatuation and lust. And when I was growing up, and here down in the South, we were told you're not a man unless you have more than one woman. And they didn't say no love was in it. It was just conquer all you can and get all you can, and that's how it was coming up. And so when again it's becoming a man, and the Bible speaks of when a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing. And so it didn't say wives, it says wife. So that's one woman. And so therefore we're supposed to be committed to that one woman. No, we can't be in love with two women. And again, it's called infatuation and lust. And if you find yourself lusting after someone else, that means that you're not who you are, meaning you're lacking something yourself.
Those are facts.
So we have to examine ourselves to see what is it that we're lacking. Why can't we commit to that one woman? And if you're a woman, why can't you commit to that one man? Because you're lacking something. You don't know how to give. Let me rephrase that. We don't know how to give ourselves completely to one person. And we say it's vulnerable.
Wow.
And not vulnerable, it's meaning trust. It's showing that you trust that person. To be in love, you have to trust that person you're in love with.
Yes.
And so when you trust that person you're in love with, Therefore, that commitment will stand. And when that commitment is there, guess what? You wouldn't have a desire for another woman.
Right on, right on.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. But again, I say again, love is sacrifice. Choose one over the other.
Yeah.
For everyone that's online, on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, actions, you're welcome to. Just gonna put in your message in the chat box there, and we'll see it, and we'll answer your question.
Right.
And Pastor Willie King, do you have a question that stood out to you that you want to talk about?
Yes. Why is it that most men want things to split 50-50? Don't like it back.
I can tell you why.
and come back to the day. 50,
yeah, we can all hit on that.
And it's why is that most men want things 50-50. A lot of men, again, if you're a man, you know your responsibilities. You're gonna pay for everything. If when I was dating, I paid for everything. It wasn't 50-50. I felt less of a man if a woman paid for my tab. If we go out to the dinner, if we go out to a movie or whatever, I felt less of a man if a woman paid for me. And so in my marriage, I take care of my family. I take care of the full responsibilities of the house, bills, all that. I put gas in my wife's car. Yes, I go and put gas in my wife's car so she does not have to. Amen. That's what men do. I still hold the door, open the door for women. So why is it that most men want things done 50-50? No, it's 100-100. Or better yet, you give it all and let your wife do whatever she can. But we're the ones that's supposed to give out the most as a man. It shouldn't be 50-50. If you're doing 50-50, guess what? You're half of a man. I'm just going to go on record and say that. If you're doing 50-50, you're half of a man. And now your finances may not be where you can do all that. So when you do get your finances where you can, go 100% and let your wife sit back and do the things that she needs to do as the woman, then you're able to. But right now, let's start. You're doing 100% and your wife doing 100%, meaning loving you and taking care of the children and encouraging you to build as a family.
Okay. All right.
Great. Diamond on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna dive in on it because again, this is a layered type situation. Now, we have gotten to a point in society where what Pastor King is talking about is things almost of a bygone era. The chivalry and the respect, is something that we are currently missing in our community. In particular, when we have people that are dating, you may have a young man who's out there and he's just kind of trying to figure out how life goes. But the danger with him coming up out of his pocket 100% every single time is he may be doing that for somebody, who has no other goal or ambition other than to get in his pocket. Now, what was interesting for me, I was taught this by my mother, what I'm saying? I had both my parents in the home, but my dad, it was like an absentee type dude, what I'm saying? He would just dip in and be out. But I learned from watching how things were done with him. And then I also took in the experience that I had from the elders that were in my life. Like I was blessed to have a great uncle who was there constantly, and also my grandfather that was there constantly, my mother's father. But here's the thing, when you have a dating type situation, there has to be a point at which you go through. First, it's, you know, it's just casual dating. Then you're going to start evaluating the situation, right? If you are dating someone and let's say, you know, you guys go out all the time and you're always paying for things, hands down, and the young lady not even one time says, hey, let me help you with that. You know, let me get this today. You know, you are going to set yourself up for failure. You know, when we talk about scripture and especially, you know, women are considered your helpmate.
Yes.
Right? That's your helpmate. There should not be, if you your old lady has got to be there, you know, to ride with you, right? If you're sick and you can't take care of the family, your old lady is gonna step up, you know what I'm saying, and cover you, you know what I'm saying, and shield you until a point where you get healed to the point where you can step forward, you know. But I think that the other elephant in the room here that a lot of women and a lot of these brothers, you know, kind of missed the boat on too, is what we're talking about within that 100%. Now, for me, I don't believe, and this, you know, I've never been shy about this. There is no such thing as a 50-50 relationship. It doesn't exist, right? Now, that whole thing's down the middle, it goes to a 50-50. But if you are the man of your home, right? The bare minimum that it's going to have to be is going to be 51-49, you know, because you are the stopgap, right? When things go bad, you got to take that heat. When things go good, you get the heat as well, you know. And when, you know, I see brothers that are like, oh yeah, well, I'm married, and Pastor Jay, we done came across a couple of them. They married and they're like, yeah, my wife didn't come up with her half of the mortgage. I'm like, well, now we have a problem, because what's happening here, instead of y'all, if you are married, you are building together, right? Which means that you don't have to put in, and there is no I, you know, there is no my half of anything. You know what I'm saying? You on it. You know what I'm saying? You got to handle that, you know? And if you are setting things in place where you're like, yeah, your kids are watching you. Yeah, okay, well, you know, you got to pay half your car note and you got to pay this. And where's my half of this? We have separate accounts. You setting your family up for failure, because your children are going to see that. If you have daughters, your daughter is going to see that, you know, and what you're doing, you're setting her up to be victimized in the future. You know, and so, you know, that's how I see it, you know, how things are going. But yeah, man, when you're dating, though, you know what I'm saying, that is an opportunity for you to find out what kind of woman you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you, brothers, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if you were on your first date, right, and you've already, you know, you paid for the movie, you know what I'm saying, y'all chick want to go to an expensive restaurant, y'all sit down. And when the bill come, if she don't start trying to reach for it or say, hey, let me get something on this, yo, pack your bags and hit the road. You know what I'm saying? We were standing, keep it moving, because she is not going to be a helpmate. You know what I'm saying? She is going to be a drain on resources. And it's your own fault, because you out here thinking that, hey, you know what I'm saying, I'm balling, so this is what it's going to be. Like, nah, you're not going to be balling forever. There's going to be rough patches, tough times, you know what I'm saying? But you need a helpmate that is going to want to have your back and keep it moving, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 50-50, split things down the middle on a marriage. Yeah, that's no good. Long-term relationship, no good, you know. But then we also got to start going into other topics, and this would push into, you know, where people start shacking up. You know what I'm saying? And they don't abide by common law anymore like our ancestors would. You know, they would be together for like 40-50 years, never got a marriage certificate, but they were common law. You know what I'm saying? Because they were committed to one another, right? But now we have jokers that use this as an excuse, men and women, you know what I'm saying, to be like, you know what, you know, all right, you ain't paying up half your stuff, yo, I'm gonna bounce. It makes it easier for them to separate things, you know what I'm saying, and make it not so complicated, in my opinion.
And again, I think um, Brother King,
Yes, and to piggyback,
I think
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, to piggyback off what Mr. G said is that we setting examples for our children. And I tell my daughters, all of my daughters, I told them, if a man can't treat you better than your father, you don't
Amen.
need him.
Yep.
And one of my daughters, she is married, and her husband takes great care of her, but she gives him a hard time. And she said, "Daddy does this, Daddy does that." I said, "Baby, stop doing that to the man." I said, but I set that example for her,
Yeah.
so she knows what to expect. And so, what examples are we leaving and setting for our children? And that's
Yeah.
the number one question. How do you want a man to treat your daughter?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I agree. And I think the question is really said back in the day. Back in the day, um, relations were different. Back in the day, the commitment level was different. Back in the day, so we can't operate today in the climate we're in, because when in the climate we're in, relationships where people use you, and um, we use you, and while you are footing the bill for their life, they would just just not even appreciate what you're doing. So I think I think both comments are right. Like Diamond G said and Pastor Willie said, that you got to there's a process of time where, again, you're looking for a help me. You're looking for some, because guess what? The money you have today, you may not have tomorrow. Gosh, I wish I can. Man, the money you have today, you may not have tomorrow. The car you have today, you may not have tomorrow. You need to find somebody that's gonna be down for you. That if you fall ill, that you can go get a job. Oh, did I say that? Oh, did I say that? They can go out and get a job, and because you guys have a vision for your family, not for me. It's not about somebody. It's not about man. You should not be, the goal should be, this is our vision. How are we going to work to make this happen for our family? Not what I'm going to do. Because guess what, men? You're not God. You get
Amen.
sick. You get
That's
tired.
right.
And life happens. And you just can't do it. So don't start this. I see what happened. I think back in the day that was the ideal. Oh, the men will go and take care of everything, but again, and provide everything. But now when the men can't do it, we get upset. But again, the man's not God, and there's many men who are good men and just trying, and life happens.
That's
The
right.
economy is not. The marketplace is not producing the jobs that it used to produce. So so again, I think again the goal is that you got to focus on this. Find yourself a help me. Find somebody. You know what? I see your vision. First, man, you must have a vision.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
must have somewhere where you want to go. What you're trying to do. Stop asking a woman to follow you, and you're not going nowhere.
It is.
Number one, and like Greg said, this should be no 50-50. We both going all in. I'm gonna do this. You're gonna do this. My wife and I, this many times where there were days when I was a couple years ago, I was on disability. I particularly wasn't going to work every day. But she was.
Right.
Now the situation have changed, whereas because of challenges that we have, she stays home. And I'm the one going out to work every day. Change.
Right.
And you need to find somebody, not to focus on the 50-50, but focus on the 100-100. But men like Diamond G said, when it comes down to it, it's you. If you get evicted and somebody needs a court, pick your big boy shoes, your big boy pants on, and walk down there and stand in the midst of disappointment and say, "Sir, we just don't have it."
Amen.
But make a determination in your life that you will work day and night and do whatever you, as long as moral and legal, to make sure you're gonna get ahead. And I promise you, you'll get there. So that's good. That's good.
And if I may, before we go to another topic, men do not take for granted that your wives are staying at home doing nothing.
Right.
Being a housewife is very important and it's priceless.
Yes.
You can't pay a housewife enough for everything that they're doing. There's not enough resources out there to pay them. So and honor them and respect them and realize that they're doing being a helpmeet by being there by your side, by taking care of your family, by encouraging you, motivating you, praying for you. That's what they're doing. And they have more resources than we do. But guess what? They're not going to give you those resources because they're supporting you and encouraging you to be all that you can be. For instance, my daughter's a stay-at-home mom, but she's an entrepreneur in her own right. She has her own company. She started it from home, and she encouraged that, put that in, instilled that into her children, my grandchildren. And so, yes, be thankful that you have a supportive wife. Be thankful that you have a loving wife that loves your children, and that that can encourage you and motivate you and build together. So don't ever underestimate your wife because she stays at home. Amen.
Well said, Pastor King. Amen. Yeah.
Good. So let me speak on this as a whole. For it's kind of hard to talk about the men and not talk about the women. It's not hard to talk about the women. Joshua, well, about talking about the men. But let me talk about this as a whole. When it comes to finances, and we're going to talk about one day we'll do a show about money and relationships. Money matters. I don't care what nobody tell you. Money matters. The more money you have, the more options you have. The more you can, the more you can earn, the better you'll be. People right now, especially in the American community, are going to jail at a high rate. You know why? Because they don't have the money to get a lawyer to get them out of jeopardy. Number one, stop getting in trouble. That's number one. But if perils do come to you involuntarily, we're doing a show on that one too. Voluntarily, you still need to have adequate representative, but you need money to do that. So mother and father, mom and dad, husband and wife, you need to do whatever you can to make as much money as you can. And right now, there's no excuse. Like Pastor Willie King said, his daughter is at home, but she started a business. Hey, every dollar counts. If you make about $2 a month, that's an extra $20. If you make $100 a month doing your home-based business, that's an extra $100 a month. Every dollar counts. So again, I just want to speak on that because it is important that especially our culture, that we become financially astute and empowered because money provides more options.
That's right.
Just one more question left. Then we'll talk about. It says, why do you men waste time dating women with no intention on marrying them? That's good.
I'll be in at one time.
So let me yes. So men, let's talk about men. Yes, I know men, you're gonna hate me today. That's okay. I'm telling you the truth. Stop wasting these women's time. Don't you know there's more women out there than men? And again, and you're not wasting your time, you're actually wasting yours. You don't have to string nobody along. If you feel that you're not going to be a good fit, just part ways. Do that person a favor. Let them move on. Let them, especially if you know they want to get married. Especially if you know they want to start a family. If you don't want that, you don't want to start a family. There's many women out there that don't want to have kids. Your goal is to go find somebody that had a similar interest in one as you. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll take a shot at this one. Here's the thing. Um, I think that what happens a lot of times, young brothers when they're out there, trying to kind of find their mate and kind of find their way. A lot of it has to do with there's a reluctance, to be honest with the lady or ladies that they're dating, right? Give you a prime example. Back in the day, when I was out there as a big time promoter and doing what I was doing, there would be several different young ladies that I was dating at the same time. But the one life lesson that my mother gave me was that always just be honest with them, because she said, you'd be surprised, at the type of reaction that you get if you are honest about what you're doing, and by that same token, you don't want to be that dude that's going to be out with his homeboys and, some chick run up on you and she sees you with somebody else, and now she didn't start taking your clothes off you. Now you're just beat, you know what I'm saying? So, we kind of need to get back to a place where, men, when you're out there, you're dating all these different women, it is okay to let them know what's going on. If you like, hey, listen, I have no intentions of getting married, I'm just out here enjoying life, and we just gonna be dating. As what we used to say back in the day was that we be kicking it. You know what I'm saying? We all just gonna kick it. You will be surprised at how many women would be like, oh, okay, cool, because they're hoping that they might be able to change, your mind and how things are gonna go. But as a society, for some reason, cats try to dap each other up when they're like, oh, yeah, hey man, I'm messing with this chick, and then man, I almost got caught. Woo! It's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It goes back to what Pastor King was talking about. Would you want, someone, saying like you dating your daughter? You know what I'm saying? Because, hey man, what we put out in this world always comes back, so that is important, but we have a situation right now. If we had more brothers that were just like, hey, look, I'm not looking for a wife, I'm just looking for somebody to go and hang out with on the weekends, go to movies, just to kind of hang out. We're gonna kick it and enjoy each other's company. If more brothers were to do that, things would be a lot better. And also, as you said, as Pastor Josh said, there's more, like the number's almost like it's almost 3-to-1 at this point, but it's definitely 2-to-1 women to men, but again, that would have to go back to what Pastor King was talking about, where we're at home and, we're raising these young men to be men, you know what I'm saying, and take responsibility for yourself. So they got to be honest, and then the second component to that is that you got to remember, for a lot of these sisters out here, a lot of brothers will only do to you what you will allow. If your man is out there creeping and he's creeping, and you don't want to say nothing, that's on you. Mm-hmm. That's on you. Flat out, that's on you, because you know what the deal is, and by you, and if he knows that right, and y'all are just kind of dancing around it, he knows that it's cool because you're willing to accept that kind of conduct. And the same thing goes for brothers too. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of these chicks out here can be super duper scandalous.
And if you're not ready to get married, don't get married. And Diamond G just said,
yes,
you have to be honest. I know when I was running around, I was always honest. And sometimes that honesty, it hurts that person more so than it hurt you. Yep. We as men, we want friends with benefits. Right. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have friends with benefits with no intentions of marrying. And so my close friends, we've been friends since we were 8 years old. and so now I'm 52. So we've been friends for over 40 some years. He told me a few years ago, he said, you can be friends with a woman without being intimate with her.
Yes.
I said, really? This was about 10 or 15 years ago. So now I didn't know that. It's like that was a wake-up call to me. So men, I'm telling you, you can be friends with a woman without being intimate with that person. Because once you become intimate with that woman, guess what? Feelings develop.
That's right.
Feelings develop. You may not have the feelings, but she will. So let's be mindful of that, and you just be honest. And if you're not ready to get married, don't get married.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Somebody made a comment. Honesty might save your life. Men, in these days, that is true. The women these days are treacherous. Some women are worse than men. So being honest, they're telling a person, you know what? This is where it is. I don't want any more. And and if it, it is where it is. Because sometimes we hurt a woman's feeling and lean them on, thinking it's going to be something more. They may take a huge offense, and that may be a fatal. Maybe could be fatal. These days the stories on TV are showing that women are going to jail more than men these days. It is definitely especially days you want to play it, not play it safe, but just be honest. Just to keep yourself out of harm's way. Like Diamond G said, women, unfortunately, you allow the man to treat you the way he want to treat you. If he's going to cheat, you allow it. He's going to cheat. If you allow it, he won't do it. I've learned this in relationships. You put boundaries. You can put boundaries. You can say, if you do this, it's a done deal. If you keep doing this, it's a done deal. And then they have to make a decision whether you're valuable enough for them to not do what they actually may want to do. It's like a job, a good job. If you like your job, you're going to work on time. If you don't, you're going to work late.
That's right.
So likewise, in most relationship situations, what I see is that, if a person really value you and you put down some expectations that are reasonable, they will be willing to try to conform to those expectations because they want you in their life. So men will can only do what you particularly allow them to do. Well, guys, any final thoughts? We got about 6 minutes left. You got any last words you want to share with the men? Right now, with our society is, especially, I'm gonna do more shows about, especially men in law enforcement, because it's important. We see huge spike in our African American men being shot. Police officers. So we're gonna talk about that because I believe there's problems on both sides of the those interactions. Then again, got grown up, man. Men, men. Our communities are gonna change when the men rise up and when the men change. So anybody want to say any last words?
Yes, and you're right, Pastor Jay, that men, we need to rise up. Mainly, we need to respect one another. We need to encourage each other, support each other, motivate each other. When you see a young man doing wrong, go and encourage that man. Talk to them, and let them know, son, this is the wrong path. You don't want to go down this path. Let's stop this violence. Let's honor and respect and build together as men. We have it. We have enough obstacles against us as it is. So let's not be that main obstacle to keep us from moving forward in life. So let's continue to grow together, build together, and most of all, let's respect one another as men.
Right on, right on.
Diamond G?
Yeah, my sentiments are exactly what Pastor King was saying. Also it's important that I think that at times as a society, especially with so-called Black men, there's this rush to judgment and to basically push us all into the same group. And that is not something that you see amongst the other so-called ethnicities in this country. And I believe it's about time, because if we can make brothers like ourselves, if someone can say that we're responsible for those in our community that aren't doing the right thing, their poor conduct, and then it's allowed, our good conduct is allowed to be overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
That's a major problem. So what we really need to do, we need for those that are within our community to understand that there are different groups within the community, just like any other socio ethnic group as well. And we need to really own that. One of the scariest things that I've seen, especially in the recent days, is that we have this situation going on with the police all over the country. Sure, as Pastor King can tell you, man, this stuff is not new. You know what I'm saying? This stuff has been going on for a very long time, just so we have access to video cameras now, and people can get out there. We need, those who are in law enforcement, so-called Blacks in particular, to really step forward and start doing what they're supposed to do to protect, these young brothers and sisters that are out here. I've seen it firsthand. I've been victimized by it as well, where, sometimes the so-called Black cop, he's worse than any bigot that you want to come across. It's like he's got something to try to prove to someone, So, that is something that we are going to need to address. And that also goes into the category where guys will be like, yeah, look what this cop has done over here. Let's get him. But then right down the street, an elder in the community gets shot because she told the drug dealer to stop slinging on the corner. And the answer, that you get from a lot of these brothers is like, well, we can deal with that later. Like, nah, brother, we deal with that now. What I'm saying? We get our house in order first, and you get everything in a row, and then you go, and prepare for battle against the enemy. But if the enemy is within and you don't address it, you're gonna be fighting a war on two fronts. So that's kind of. But brothers, hey, you're not alone out there. Having compassion is not weakness. Having respect for another brother is not weakness. Telling a brother that you're proud of him because you see him excelling in something, it's not a weakness. That's how we build a strong community, and start to reverse some of these trends that have been put upon our people, in this great country.
And here's one last point before we close. Men, we got to definitely work together. Life is tough. Life is hard. Life is tough. And the only way we win is we work together. But at the same time, working together, building together. Again, finding, there's other men out there that are going through. Find them. I'm part of Virtue Men's Group, where we're men from all around the world, and we get on and just talk and just share. That's how I met Pastor Willie King, and again, and he's said some things that I've wow, that's amazing stuff. Learn. There's other men you can learn from. Men can only learn from men. If you never had a father, don't know your father, find another man that you can find to learn from, and just be grow, because you are important. You are significant. The family rises and falls on the shoulders of you. And guess what? You are well able to succeed. You are well able to be good, have good, great success and accomplishments. You may have to learn how to do it. Somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want to be able to get to the point. I want to be able to not to worry about no bills." I'm like, I'm like in my head, I'm like, I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm like, I think he has a vision, but his vision has not been layered yet with reality, and the thing that it's going to take some a lot of hard work, and you're going to have to probably start a business and work very hard, and it's just one, it's just not going to happen. It can happen. It can happen if you work hard, strategize, but um, it's possible. And the guy's kind of young, so I was like this. I'll leave my head like, okay. I just when I hear comments like that, I just smile. He said, "Yeah, I heard my cousin did this." I'm like, okay. What? But guys, I want to thank you once again. Thank you for your time, your words of wisdom. My prayers that we were able to share this, and maybe some guy we able to got to glean this, and that I know because men, I know you got dreams. I got dreams. I have goals. Um, and I'm working hard to possess those goals. So I know you do too, and that's why I did this, and I want to do other things because I want you to be able to live the life of your dreams. It is possible.
Yes.
It's gonna be tough, and you gotta be willing to be the man and not put anything else on someone else and lead your family and lead your community. But it's possible, especially if you're African American. It's gonna be a lot tougher because and when it comes to the marketplace, we're gonna be in the majority. But with God, all things are possible.
Yes.
Thank you. God bless you. I want to wish all the mothers on Facebook Live and YouTube Live happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
God bless
Yes.
you.
Thanks for that.
Like James Brown said, it's a man's world, but it will not be anything without a woman or a girl.
Hey, yo. Yes, sir.
So we applaud you for your hard work, your dedication, and to making sure the men in our community are well taken care of. Thank you. God bless you. Never smelling you. Guys, I see you guys later. Have a blessed day. And we'll talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See everybody later.
All right.